So, yeah, so if I inside the museum was amazing because they had this little model of the lake that was there that was like 100 miles wide or something, and or long, really big, like bigger than the Great Salt Lake. And in these little islands in the middle was where their central capital was, where all these pyramids were. And then connected were all these little islands where they had canals. It was kind of like Venice, and they even still have canals there in the southern part of Mexico City that I didn't see. Probably should have. But I rode my bike around the whole city, and there were some other Aztec pyramids, like a few blocks north of that, or maybe a mile north of that, not close, that were still intact. It's cool. Well, not like pyramids, but they kind of looked like pyramids, parts of them. And there was a big walkway that led up to a beautiful church. And I went up to the top of a tower and looked over the city, and I couldn't see the mountains. They have these two big mountains, like 18,000, 17,000 foot mountains, El Popo, which is an active volcano, and then one north of it. But I couldn't see it because it was all smog. I could only see maybe 10 blocks, and then the smog just blocked everything. And one thing interesting about Mexico City is there are green Volkswagen Bugs, old style Volkswagen Bugs everywhere. Like they'd have they were taxis, and they had them like parked at intersections, like 50 of them, all jam packed in there. And they also had Volkswagen vans, but you could tell they were new. They still made the old style in the factory then, driving around. Only they had the plastic grills instead of the metal ones. So then after I healed, I rode down south to the mountain. And I think it took me like one day I rode up, and at the end it was kind of uphill, and there was some town. And I hung out there, I think maybe a day, because I couldn't get up the next morning. And then I got up really early, and I rode my bike way up to the base of the mountain just north of El Popo. It was a beautiful ride through the forest of the fog, and it was pretty steep past one little town on the side of the mountain. And then I locked my bike, but I locked my bike with a really cheap, like $3 Mexican lock. I thought it was safe, but I was hiking up, and I was way up, and I saw these people park, and they were laughing. And I climbed the mountain to the top. I had to trudge through some snow towards the end, and it was hard, the altitude. It was like 17,500 feet or something like that. But it was a beautiful view. I could see El Popo at the south, which is a perfect cone volcano, and then to the east, the highest mountain in Mexico, which I wanted to climb. It was like 18,000 feet. And I saw Pueblo and Mexico City. And then I went down, and they had cut my bike, and they stole my mountain bike. So I had to hitchhike down back to my hotel room. And I probably should have bought another bike, but I was or at least climbed that mountain that I wanted to, but I was kind of sick of Mexico. So I just took a bus into Belize, and I didn't even see any of the ruins, the Mayan ruins in the Yucatan. So I guess I'll have to make that another trip, maybe with my mom. That'd be cool. So the bus drive was it was a nice drive down into Pueblo. There was this big downhill. Would have been a nice ride. And then, but I'm glad I didn't bike tour through the Yucatan where the Mayan ruins were, because I could have been killed. Because I remember when I was riding at some point, maybe when I was climbing or something, but in northern Mexico towards Mexico City, the roads don't have any shoulder, and there are these reeds that come way up right on the side. So I couldn't get too close to the reeds because it would clip my handlebars. So I didn't have anywhere to go to get off if a car was going to come and run me over. So it was terrifying. And that's what it was like driving on the bus through the jungle. It was in the Yucatan. It's just jungle, and the jungle starts right on the edge of the road. So if I had been in that situation on my bike, I probably would have not ridden it and just gotten a bus then and there, or only ridden at night or something, or because there wouldn't have been anything I could have done if a car would have been coming to run me over. So yeah, I went into Belize. I guess I'll include Belize in this video. So I went into Belize, and I crossed the border and got on a bus, like a school bus sized bus, or I think a van or something, It was totally jam-packed with people. But Belize is black, English-speaking people, so it's cool to be an English-speaking country. Went into Belize City and got a hotel and met these two English girls and got a hotel with them. And then the next day went in with them and some other American guy. Took a boat into Caulker, I think it was called. But before that, there was this big parade that we participated in, walking around the city. And it was really seedy. Like at night we were walking around and some drunk guy was like kind of like acting, threatening us or something. And it's really like poor. But we saw these Mennonites there. I guess they're originally from like Holland or something, and they looked albino to me. They looked kind of inbred, and they were really kept to themselves. I didn't see any of them talk or look at anybody else, and they were kind of dressed even like Amish or something, and they were loading up furniture. They had really beautiful furniture that they were, I guess, preparing to put on the bus or something. But they were like Belizeans, pretty trippy. And so we went into Caulker, which is a beautiful island. It's a tiny little island, and got a hotel with them. And there's this one, like, there's no cars on it, just these, so it's cool. And they have this one, like, main road that you walk on, that there's, I guess, hotels and outside restaurants and stuff, and it was cool. I remember I even had weed. I don't remember where I got it. Maybe I bought some from one of the Belizean guys there. And I met a local who I was trying to get to kayak with me to San Pedro Island, which is actually a peninsula, about 13 miles north of Caulker. But he couldn't do it. He couldn't get off work, so I found some other American kid to do it with me. I rented an open kayak, sea kayak tandem, and we left kind of like, I guess, in the afternoon or something, because it was a full moon, and it was totally like 10-foot deep turquoise water the whole way. It took us like 3 hours to get there, or 3.5 hours, and we pulled the boat over and turned it upside down and put all of our stuff inside of it, and then walked a couple miles into the town, which was more touristy, and had dinner, and then came back and paddled the boat back to Caulker. And it was like midnight when we came back, so it was dark, but we could see the rocks and all of the grass growing on the rocks passing below us, even at midnight, because the full moon was lighting everything. It was beautiful. And we knew where we were going because there was a lighthouse, so we just followed the light. And then we got to the northern part of the island, and I think we pulled the boat, I guess, on the side, and then we swam around in the reeds, because there was phosphorescence. You'd hit the grass, and because we both had snorkeling gear, and we paid extra for it, so we decided we'd use it. And so we're swimming underwater through the phosphorescence for like 20 minutes or something. It was really cool. And then we kayaked back, but then we found out later that that's where all these alligators hang out. So, man, I was glad we didn't encounter any of those things. So then I hung out there for a couple more days, and then went back to the city, and then it was a cool like party place too. There was people doing karaoke, and there's a nice beach on the northern end of it too. But then I took the bus across Belize to Tikal, which is in Guatemala. So yeah, I did cross the border and went to Tikal. So that will be Guatemala.